The Horrible Gamers podcast may contain content not suitable for all ages. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Horrible Gamers Spotlight. This week, I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Gibson, the Canadian, Gib8777. Welcome back, Ryan.
You know, you don't have to call me the Canadian every time.
I do. I
think everyone knows I'm from Canada.
No, they need to know you're the Canadian.
You need to throw in a couple A's and...
Hey. And that voice you just heard is the amazing former TXL host, Brun BJSwick33. Welcome back, Brun, or welcome to the show, actually.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming on, man.
I've been on once before.
Yeah, but not to the spotlight. This is a new thing. We're going to talk about you today, Brun. You ready?
And I usually, and I don't go by, I changed all my stuff. Instead of being former host, I put retired host. Because former makes it seem like, I left because I don't like them or something. Yeah. I think retired sounds better because, I still love those guys. So
what, you mean you didn't leave on bad terms?
Yeah, I thought you did.
No. We brought you on here to get the scoop. What's going on?
Well, so I heard there was backdoor dealings to replace me with this Sean guy who I can't wait to bump into on the street, but I'd have to go across the country from Ohio to California.
Sean guy. Nobody likes that guy. We had to fire him from HGP once. And then he keeps coming back. He somehow keeps coming back.
He's trying to take him, gets me fired from my job. What is this?
I don't know. No one likes that guy. No one likes him. but Brun, welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you here, man, because you very recently retired from the TXL podcast, this Xbox Live, and we want to know why. We want to know about you, really, and so let's get it started here. Brun, answer me.
Okay. Answer you as in why?
What got you into gaming? What started you in gaming, pretty much? Go ahead and start with that real quick. What got you into gaming?
Let's see. I started gaming back in like the 80s. I think the first thing I did, with my birthday money, I bought a NES, so played Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt and all that stuff. So I've been gaming for quite some time. I did take a big break though between gaming. Mm-hmm. It was probably around, I went from NES to Sega. I never went to the Super NES. And then I didn't really get anything after that until I bought a PS2. So I got a PS2, but around that same time doing PS2 is when I got into so doing all that at the same time. But with my PS2, I was mainly playing sports games and things like that. A lot of NCAA football, a lot of NHL because, I love football and I love hockey. But after that, I did some Battlefield 1942 was one of my first big first-person shooters, and which is why I love the Battlefield series so much. I've been playing it since 1942. But it's just, and ever since then, it's just been with me. Gaming's just a part of things I like to do. I like to sit down and relax and do from that. And actually Battlefield 2 is where I branched off and started down the podcasting road. So, which I imagine a question like that might be soon, what got me into podcasting, but it all started listening to Ola, Chalk 1 and Chalk 2 and those guys on the Battlefield podcast. And later Darkness 429 joined the Battlefield podcast. I remember listening to them and saying, hey, we're looking for hosts, and we have this type of podcast, and we have this type, and one of them was an Xbox podcast. So I listened, I think, the first couple episodes, and it was Moronic Cow, Kyle Moronic Cow, and Mark Wingman 709, and they were still looking for a host. So I talked with my wife. I was like, hey, I really want to try to do this. And that's when I, messaged those guys and got like I don't want to call it an interview, but, just sit down and talk with those guys. And that's for people that listened to our show last night, which was my final show on TXL. Mark talked about the first thing I ever said to him was when he popped online and was just like, it's about time. Like that's, as far as him getting on there and from there, even he says like from there, he's like, I knew he knew like, okay, this guy's going to work out.
Yeah, this is the right guy.
Yeah. And it would just went on from there. I mean, Kyle, Mark and I think we're in about a year in Xbox podcast. Because I think I left there because when last night when they're saying this is my third retirement, it's really funny because I left Xbox podcast because the person who owned the media thing at that time, he was always promising stuff, and it's not it's not Ola, because like I still like Ola and Darkness and those. It's somebody that I'm not mentioning because I don't care to. But wanted everybody to like sign a contract, like a year contract, that you couldn't podcast with anything else. You just couldn't do anything else.
They were trying to lock you down.
To sign, they wanted to lock you down, and my wife was just like, no, it's like you're not signing that. So I didn't, and then so basically I had to say I'm leaving. So that's what left, caused me to actually get out of there. But I did kind of work a deal with them. Like I would do reviews for Xbox Live Arcade games. So I'd record like a 5-minute blurb or whatever. I'd send it to them. They would cut it into their show. And my little blog that I was doing to do that and to do those reviews was a little site called This Xbox Life. So I think Mark actually helped me pick out the name of that as well. Because I was just kind of going off This American Life, because This American Life was the top podcast at the time. So it's just like, what about This Xbox Life? Because, live the life, of an Xbox player and fan. So I went ahead and did that, and then later on, Kyle and Mark left at the same time. I think they were left at the same time. I knew that was like a week difference, and it was like, "Do you guys want to do a podcast?" And it was like, "Well, let's do a podcast." Like, what do we call it? It's like This Xbox Life. So that's where TXL started, and then we brought in Rob. So it was a 4-man show for a while until Moronic Cow spawned off and did Achievement Hounds. So,
man, this was back in what year?
Oh, 2010.
Wow, that's a long time.
2008. So October this year is the 10-year anniversary of TXL. That might be one of the times that I might want to pop on to TXL as a special guest, because this year is the 10-year anniversary of TXL, and with 468 was last night, so 468 episodes. 10 years is my primary reason. 10 years of doing that. I have a couple other projects that I want to do on my own, not podcast relating, not streaming related. Like I'm not leaving TXL to go do streaming and do podcasting. Like that's my thing was like, if I was going to do it, I'd stay with those guys. I'm not, my goal is not to become a professional streamer or anything. I think that boat has sailed. Yeah. It's very hard, I think, to get into that stuff now with all the popularity, and people have their favorites already. So it's hard to get into it. But that's not saying that people who like to do computer stuff, like programmers, somebody like myself, can develop things to help out streamers. So I think that's what I'm moving on and trying to do. I've had this want to build an application for 2 years now.
Well, Brun, let me ask you a question then.
Okay.
What if you were to build a Horrible Gamers app? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Yeah, so, the first thing is it won't be mobile. My first thing is not mobile. I've already, with somebody at work, built a mobile application. They're a challenge. I mean, it's challenging. And the most challenging part... The most challenging part is trying to get certification from Apple, because if you say my app is going to run on an iPad, then you have to have the right resolution screenshots for every screen.
Oh yeah,
in their thing to get it approved, and it's like you can't fake it. Like I tried to fake it one time, they're just like these screenshots aren't real, and I'm just like I don't have $1,000 iPad Pro to take a screenshot for you, okay?
You want to send me one and I can take the screenshot for you?
Yeah. I'll definitely take one if they want to give me one. But so no, that's the real thing. What I'm going to want to do, because it's going to take probably all of this year, probably to even get into a beta level. Yeah. I mean, it's going to take a while, because I'm going to be using, like, for the techie, people out there, I want to write something in Angular using Firebase and stuff like that. So that's where I'm leaning at.
Sweet.
Yeah. Long story.
Awesome.
Story short or longer? Long story longer?
So is it easier to get certified on Android?
Yes.
I would assume it would be, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you do screenshots and stuff there, but it's just like, oh, when do you want to turn your app on? I don't know. Right now? And they're like, okay.
Sure. Hey, wait a minute. It's broken.
Yeah. With Apple, the first time we got certified with Apple, it took like 2 weeks. But they are on they're off on the weekends.
Oh, okay.
But they're on a 24-hour turnaround now. So they've really sped things up. And I don't want to knock Apple, because I like curated content. It saves yourself from having a bunch of junk. Now, a lot of junk still gets out there, but they didn't release my second application. They refused to publish it on their store. And the reason why they refused to publish it on their store is because I was making, during my user registration, the person who was registering had to type in a code, and the code was given to them by like a company, and they're like, nope, we don't allow that. And I'm like, I have another app that's already out there. It does the same thing. They're like, yeah, but you're not getting this one in. I was like, all right. Yeah. So it was business related app. So
yeah.
A business signed up for something, and then that business wanted to add their employees on there. So the business would say, hey, go download the app, type this code in, and when they typed in the code, that brought down their organization, and then they would sign up under their organization. But they were just like, nope, you can't have codes. It's like, well, how are we supposed to join the people to the organizations? They're like, oh, not that way. Okay. So, yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on now. Move on to the next questions. Oh man, Brun, I remember you, man. When I first started listening to this Xbox Live, this was back in what year? I'll say late 2010, early 2011, like really early 2011. And I was listening to the show, and I remember like all I did was search for Xbox. It was like when I first found out about podcasts. So I was like, oh, what is this podcast thing on my iPhone? And I launched the app, and I was like, wait, this stuff is free. You can listen to this. What? This is free? So I was at work, and I was like, what if I listen to video game related stuff? So sure enough, I typed in Xbox, and this Xbox Live podcast was like the first one to come up.
Yep.
So I started listening, and then I remember when I listening to you guys talk, you were so hyped about, I think it was Battlefield 3 was going to come out or something like that, where they had announced Battlefield 3, and you were like just talking about Battlefield 2 and how great it is and how Battlefield 1942 is amazing and how you can't wait to play Battlefield 3. And I remember like, I need to add these guys on Xbox. I remember going to your friends list and it was full. And then I went to Wingman's friends list and it was full. And I went to Rob's friends list and it was full. It was like, all these friends lists are full. These guys are too popular. I can't add them. And then like, I don't know, a couple months into it, or maybe 3 months into listening to you guys, you said that you had cleared out your friends list. You were like, I deleted like 50 people from there, or 40 people or something like that.
That's when I got on your friends list.
Yeah, same here. I was like, I need to add this guy. So I added you. And then from there, man, I don't know, you invited me to a party, or I invited you to a party. I sent you a message saying that I liked listening to the show. And you were like, oh, thank you for listening and all this. And then you invited me to play Battlefield 3 one day, and then from there on, man, it's just this Xbox Live became a big part of my life. Honestly, it did. It really, you guys, man, I've been listening to you guys forever now. It seems like since 2011. It's been 7 years. It's crazy, man. Like,
I think I started listening in like 2010.
Can't believe it's been that long. That's nuts.
Yeah, it's been a very, very long time. But you're talking about Battlefield 3. Like, that was all I played.
Yeah.
And then the Battlefield 4 came out. I moved to PC for a while. But I'll tell you what, I am so ready. I'm so ready for another modern, like, Battlefield.
Yeah.
But I'm ready. Like, I fired up Battlefield 1 a couple days ago, and I'm just like, all right, I need to get that competitive group, like the group of guys back in there. You know, like, I love constantly being best squad, best squad, best squad, best squad. I'm just like, that's right. So
yeah,
I love Battlefield.
We used to get best squad all the time, and I know when I run with you, and usually when I would play with you, it would be me, you, and like Brink and a few other people, and then we would all just play for hours at a time and just always get top squad. Always, like, we barely even lost.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And if we lost, I mean that means our entire team was literally doing nothing. Like nothing at all. They have to be completely like sitting at the base doing nothing for us to lose, because we would run around and cap all the points and everything. It was crazy.
Yeah, I remember playing, and it was Battlefield 1, so it was more recent. I forget who was all in there playing, but it was just like, you know, like, we're making Brun leader. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, we're going here. I was like, we're going here, then we're going here, then we're cycling back and going here. And it was just like, geez. And so the other person's like, yeah, you don't mess around when you're playing Battlefield. It's like,
so much fun, man.
Yeah. It's like, we run together, we fight together. That's how we'll be top squad. So
yeah, man. That's so cool. And one thing I always liked about you on this Xbox Live podcast is you always brought like that multiplayer gaming to the podcast. As much as Wingman plays online with people, as of late, Mr. Wingman, I feel like he's gotten older or something, where he just doesn't play as many online games as he used to back in the day. And I don't know, and I've noticed that change because really recently, like last month, I went back and I listened to older shows. I listened to shows from like 2013, maybe late 2013, right when you had left and you went to like PC gaming, and you guys stopped the show for like 2 weeks, but then you didn't come back for like a couple months after, or 3 months after that. So listening to
my
those
second
shows,
retirement.
listening to those shows, I was listening to Wingman, and he used to be like a different gamer back then. Nowadays, I feel like he's gotten like, I don't know, to a different mode. Maybe he likes different types of games, and he just doesn't know it yet. Maybe he needs to be a PlayStation gamer or something.
I think he's more into like co-op nowadays. Like, he likes playing co-op games. Like, I see him playing Diablo, and I played with him a few times with Comrade, and I'm trying to think of some other game. He seems to gravitate towards like co-op instead of competitive online multiplayer.
Yeah, and everybody's has changed as far as their games. Like I said, I used to be like nonstop sports. Like even on the 360 days, like I still had sports games. Like I don't buy sports games anymore. Yeah, you know, I buy first person shooters, and I love like I don't like playing games by myself anymore. That's why I have trouble finishing like single player campaigns and stuff. You know, if it's co-op or anything like that, like I'm so into that. But yeah, I think out of the three of us, I would be your first-person shooter. Not first-person shooter, but like competitive multiplayer. Even though like when competitive is like a loose term, it's just fast-paced.
Yeah.
You know, fast-paced type of stuff. And Mark still does do the first. Like he plays Gears of War and all that stuff just way more than I do. Titanfall 2, he's into that. So he has his games. You won't see him on Battlefield. You know, he was a huge Battlefield 2 player. I think he just kind of fell out of Battlefield and picked up other games like Titanfall. I mean, what was he? He was like, on the first Titanfall, he did the Class 10.
Yeah, the Gen 10.
Like, Gen 10. I mean, that man put a lot of hours into Titanfall. So.
Yeah. But I'm going to miss that from you, Brun. I want to miss that multiplayer gaming aspect of the podcast from your perspective. Because like you said, man, you're bringing those first-person shooter games to the podcast. I'm going to miss that. This is just the show about me saying how much I'm going to miss things about you on the show.
He just erased the entire questions thing here. I don't know why.
Well, Mark, you know, what we'll have to do, and I know Mark's listening, or will be listening when this goes live. We're just have to get him back into Battlefield. You know, we'll have to pull him in.
Somehow.
He's going to have to buy it, which will make him lose a bet.
That's true. You guys made a bet about that.
Well, actually, you know, if he still has his EA access, he could play it there. But we'll have to pull him back in so he can.
Hey, so wait, if he has EA access, did he lose the bet?
Oh.
No. We were game sharing. I'm the one who bought it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or, you know, what it'll have to be is when there comes first-person player talk, I guess I'll just have to send in a voicemail as a listener.
There you go. Send in the voicemail, man, as a listener, because, man, we're going to need that talk in there. We need to get something to get Wingman mad. Because, you know, him and Rob don't tend to get really fired up. We need something to get him ranting. So, like, send him a voicemail about EA or something. Get him fired up.
Grinds my gears.
There we go. But Brun, moving on here. So for the listeners of this Xbox Live, because I know a lot of them are probably going to listen to this show, what do you want to say to them? I mean, I know last night you didn't really address the listeners as much as I thought you were going to for being your last show. So what do you want to say to them, man? Because personally, I'm going to miss you as a podcaster. I'm probably going to still game with you. Let's be honest. I'm going to game with you.
I think the TXL community as a whole is going to miss you. You're going to be missed.
Yes, you will.
The one thing, and I was trying to stress it last night, was that TXL is not me or Mark or Rob.
No.
It's like we're just the guys that talk but it's the people we're talking to and the people that are on Facebook and in our group and game with us, like you guys and stuff. Like, that's TXL. I think, you know, we've even talked, you know, we talked like, if we ever shut down TXL altogether, would we hand it off to somebody? And, you know, my answer was like, no, like, we're not handing it off to anybody. That was my opinion. I was like, because TXL is still our brand, but really, you know, the listeners and stuff, like, I love that I'll be missed, and you know, I'm flattered by that, but it's just the community. I'm still in the community. I'm not going anywhere. Just I won't be there every Sunday. I'm still going to be gaming. I'm still going to be like, you know, that's why I didn't say former host, or I didn't really, you know, delete my stuff. I just put the word retired in front of it because I'm proud of TXL and being a part of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But it's and that's the thing as far as addressing people last night and stuff. It's hard to say, like, you know, anything, because if it wasn't for them, like, there wouldn't be anything to do. So like, they're TXL. They're the ones that keep us going out there and stuff.
But in the same to flip the coin, it's like, without you guys, that community wouldn't be there. So like, without you guys, that community wouldn't be there, which wouldn't have spawned us. You know what I mean? Which, like, it has a lot to do with you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't. I don't think you guys realize how much that means. You know what I mean? Like it meant so much to a lot of people.
It means a lot to me, man, because honestly, like Ryan just said,
I shouldn't say that in a past tense. I shouldn't.
Right. Well, I mean, it means a lot to me because like Ryan said, the Horrible Gamers podcast, this whole entire show was spawned off of TXL. Really, it was people that met through your community. You know, me and Rob and Captain Hook and Iams and Brink and Tragic. When we first started the show, we were all meeting through you guys.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
you guys are the reason we spawned this, you know, because we're like, yeah, you know, if they could do it, we could do it. So we decided to.
And I listened to the, with the show that you guys, when you had Mark on there, and, you know, it's kind of one of his prouder moments. And it's funny because, like, we think exactly alike when it comes to that. Like, our proudest moments, yes, we have a wonderful community and people are there, like, but the spawning of other podcasts and stuff, like, we really did enjoy, like, hey, we created something, but we helped, you know, create something else, or, you know, you know, I don't want to say responsible. That's not the word, because you guys are the ones responsible. You guys took it upon yourself to go do it. We were just the meeting point.
You were an influence for us.
Inspiration, or however you want to say that. Like, we might have inspired you guys to say, you know what, we want to do this too. And when you guys went and did it. But we do take pride, like, you know, with Achievement Hounds with Kyle, you know, he went off and helped spin that up. Horrible Gamers was spawned off of listeners of the show. And then, you know, Horrible Gamers spawned, Imes went, you know, Sean went to, you know, spawned off and did Horribly Awkward. So, you know, there's like this little spider web.
Oh, man, I gotta beat that out again. Jeez.
What?
We don't mention that other show. We don't mention that show.
Okay. But I mean, there's this little spider web, you know, this little thing where it, you know, just it's branching out, and TXL's, you know, is kind of right there, and that's like, a very proud moment.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I love TXL, dude.
Oh, they're still there. It's still going to be an awesome show. Like, they're going to do a good job.
I'm just gonna miss you, man, for real. Like, I can't stress that enough. I need you to agree to come back to TXL on this show.
You gotta get through these questions, man.
Let's get through all the questions. So, Brun, do you consider yourself to be a gamer?
Consider myself?
Yes.
A casual gamer, yes. Not as hardcore as I used to be, but I do consider myself to be a gamer, yes.
You do. So real quick, I gotta ask another question. So what do you picture when someone says the word gamer? What do you picture? Because you said casual. So what do you picture a hardcore gamer?
Well, casual can mean
mobile
so many things.
Yeah, that's just so broad.
Well, sorry. Casual to me is I play as much as I can, but I can't, like, dedicate, like, a massive amount of time. Like,
you're not sitting down doing 24-hour World of Warcraft fucking marathons and stuff, right?
Yeah. So and when I say so casual is like, you know, I'm trying to get 8 hours a week, where I used to do 6 to 8 hours a day. But a gamer is a gamer. So, you know, to me, a gamer is just somebody who sits down and enjoys, you know, people's vision of a video game and playing stories, whether it's a story-based game or anything like that, and just sits down and enjoys it, you know, and just has fun to escape, I think, to escape into something. So, but that's what a gamer is like to me. So, but yes, I consider myself a gamer.
Awesome. So, Brun, I gotta ask a question for you. I know you probably answered this already, but I gotta just ask it to verify. So when you play games, do you enjoy playing with other people online or in person, or both, or neither?
Oh, well, I used to do some LAN parties. Those were freaking fun. I you know,
back in the Halo days.
Oh, well, I was more PC at that time, like the 1942 or StarCraft 2 or and things like that. But
Remember lugging Xboxes around to LAN parties, playing Halo.
Yeah, ours was big. Mine was big PCs with CRT monitors. Yeah. That was my first thing with Battlefield 1942 was a LAN party. Wow. And boy, did they not like me as a sniper. Oh. Spawn in, snipe. Well, and it was an Unreal Tournament.
Oh, I used to love
Unreal Tournament. They hit, like, I loved the Faces map, so the 2 towers. I'd get that sniper rifle, and they would either spawn to the left or to the right of the tower. And as soon as they spawn in, I'd headshot them. And it's just like getting stuff thrown at you. Yeah, headshot. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that game was fun, and Quake Arena, I guess it would be.
Yeah.
I wasn't very good at that. Just jump, shoot, jump. That's all you do. Jump, shoot your feet. So, but yeah, that's LAN parties are so much fun, and did the internet? Now you can still go and find LAN parties. People still do it for nostalgia type stuff, but it's almost like the internet and Xbox Live and PSN and stuff kind of ruined that.
Yeah, it's so much easier to stay at home on your couch.
Brought it to your living room, right?
Yeah. But I do. In
the same respect, it's the way video games, home consoles, kind of killed the arcades, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. True. But I do prefer to play with other people.
Yeah.
That's you guys, like my friends list. The people on my friends list. Like I like sitting down and finding people to play with. There's times like I'll come sit down, fire up my Xbox, hit my friends list, see what people are playing. Try to send out a couple of friends requests if nobody's wants to play or anything like that. I actually turn off my Xbox and go do something else. That's how much I do not prefer to play by myself at all. Wow. It's just so. Yeah. I like the interaction. That's the thing. I like the interaction.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, man. Yeah. Now move on to the next question, real quick. Do you feel like gaming has affected your life in a way that's more positive, negative, or neither?
Oh, positive for sure. Well, except for when you break a controller or something like that. I've said a few choice things on my monitor a couple times. No, if I didn't game, I wouldn't be here talking to you because I probably wouldn't have heard Battlefield podcast. I wouldn't have met Mark, and been friends with Mark and Rob like I am, and I don't, last night talking about those guys, tell those guys I love them because I do, and I could not. It'd be a bummer not to have, you guys include. I mean, it would be a bummer not to have them as friends.
Yeah,
there's a bond between you, right?
Yeah, and I mean, even with family, like we see each other's kids grow up, and things like that. So
I mean, there's that bond. There's something that sticks you guys together constantly for life now,
right. Oh, yeah. But, yeah, it's definitely positive because all that stuff and anything that I'm doing here, it just all came from gaming.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Awesome. Let's go on now to the next question. I have a lot of questions, but I'm skipping a few here, so cut this short a little bit. So I got a question for you. This is for you, Brun, because I know you're a podcaster, and podcasters of video games tend to play a lot of video games, and a lot of hours go into games because, well, you got to have content to talk about, right? So I got a question for you. How much gaming do you consider to be too much gaming, and why?
Well, I don't put an hour to it. I think when there's too much gaming is the time that you're putting off. So I'm a family man. I got kids. You guys saw my son earlier.
Yeah.
It's too much gaming when I push them off to do something so I can game. Like that's too much gaming in my book.
When you should be spending time with them, you're spending time with gaming, right?
Right. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. There's a time like, if we're out family time for, the entire day and I come back and, the kids will go off and do what they want to do because my kids game as well. I mean, my 6-year-old just beat Mario Odyssey, and my daughter plays Mario Odyssey.
So Jesus hasn't even done that yet.
Well, the thing is, I've been playing it.
He did play on assist mode, but my daughter also beat Odyssey, and she did not use assist mode.
Oh, well, yeah, I've been playing with my daughter.
Assist mode isn't that hard, isn't that? Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Jesus, I forgot. I was just making a joke.
So the time where, you don't even see them standing there, and because you're just focusing on the game. Yeah. But that's why I have a tendency of playing games later at night, like after 9 o'clock when the kids go to bed, or on the weekend when it's later. So, but I think that's when there's too much gaming. And there was a point in time where I was doing too much gaming, and it's like you have to shift your priorities.
And you realize it, right? You realize, like, oh, damn. I need to cut this back a little bit.
I haven't had a shower in 3 weeks. I don't know what's going on.
I haven't left this room. I haven't had sunlight touch my skin for the last 48 hours.
Yeah, City Heroes. When City Heroes came out, that was like my first big MMO that I played. I remember it was like 9 o'clock, and my wife's like, "Hey, I'm going to bed." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "I'll be in there shortly." And I look at the clock, it's like 3 a.m. I'm like, boy, I think I got a problem. So,
yeah, you know what, Brun? I asked this question in the last, I think in every spotlight that I've done so far, because I've done 4, and everybody answers the same thing. There's never been one person that has said, like, this many hours is too much gaming, like no one has said that. Everybody's always like, if this starts affecting your life, then it's too much gaming. Yeah.
It's hard to do hours, because I mean, I could sit down on a Sunday, and if the family's gone, and I could play PUBG for 8-9 hours. Yeah. So I mean, I can't say 8 hours is too much, because well, that's 8 hours. That's 8 hours over one day, but I only game 15 hours a week.
But if you have that 8 hours to spend, and you're not neglecting the things that you need to be paying attention to, then yeah. All makes sense.
Yep.
So, Brun, next question. I think I know what your answer will be.
Yeah. You know me too well.
So this is kind of like a 2-part question. So I'm going to ask you the first one, then I'll ask you the second part of it. So the question is, what is your favorite thing about gaming or the games industry? And the second part to that question is, what is the worst part about gaming or the gaming industry, in your opinion?
Well, the worst part, I already know my answer to that. The best part, I think. Well, is it gaming that helped me meet a bunch of people and become friends with a bunch of people that I would have never met or known otherwise? I guess probably that would be my best part of gaming. But as far as games in general, I think just being able to sit down and escape for a little bit. Because sometimes, as a developer and stuff like that, like today, for example, I had like 15 things hit all at one time. And it's just stressful, and, things, if it's family issue, not family issues, but like, things going on in a family or this or that, it's just nice to sit down and be able to just escape for a while and put a little bit of things behind you and clear your mind. So that's always fun with gaming. Meeting the people is awesome for gaming.
You know what I mean? So some people go for walks. Some people go to the gym.
Yeah.
Some people, you know what I mean? That's just the way we're wired. We game to escape, to get away from everyday life.
I always hated the people that tell me, well, why do you like to game so much? Why do you game after work? Why don't you go out or walk around? I'm like, what? I don't want to walk around.
It's my way of way of relaxing. Like I go to the gym during lunch. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should take a couple extra walks.
No, I wasn't trying to say anything like that. I was just saying like that's how a person. Some people think that way, right? Like the way we think about games. That's their escape from, I get to go to the gym for an hour, and I don't have to deal with kids, and I don't have to deal with this, and I don't have to deal with that. I'm escaping from all my problems, and I can just focus on this, and then, all my problems come back when I go home.
Some people read. I mean, that's my wife reads a lot, draws and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah. Like, man, gaming has done a lot too. Like, I just listened for the second time of Ready Player One. If you guys haven't read or listened to that book before,
that book. Yeah.
Have you, both of you listened to it?
Yeah.
Or read it? It is so awesome. I can't wait for the movie.
Yeah, same here.
That's another. Yeah. the stuff that spawned from gaming is another good thing. Okay, so the things I don't like about the poisonous thing of gaming community is you can go to any IGN article and just scroll down to these things called the comments, and you'll just see some of the nastiest people in the world.
Yeah.
And the, console wars or things like that. It's, I don't understand why there has to be a console war. We already know the Xbox is the best, but I mean, they just seem I'm just kidding. The whole console wars, it's just like, what if you prefer to go play here, go play there. If you prefer to play here, go play here. Just because you didn't buy the other console doesn't make you have to come up with excuses and call them crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Microsoft's made mistakes. Sony's made mistakes, but they still have two awesome consoles out there. Both have games on them that are fantastic, third-party games. I think before we start recording, it's like, when we're talking about this rumor between Microsoft buying EA and Valve and stuff, it's like, they would continue to be cross-platform. I'm like, oh yeah, why wouldn't they? It makes a lot of money. It's like, I could care less if Halo could be played on the PlayStation. More people get to play it. Because sometimes people can't afford to buy both consoles.
It's a lot of money, man. Especially when consoles are coming out at $500. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. Yep. But the fanboys is what I would say is probably the worst part about gaming. And TXL is not fanboys, because we will knock Xbox back a couple steps.
I know.
But I know you guys have gotten like voicemails, emails, reviews stating that you guys are not true Xbox fans or something like that.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. Was the how do you guys call yourself an Xbox podcast, because you just spent an entire episode ripping them. I'm like, yeah, because they did something stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they need to be, ribbed. They need to be fucking dragged through the mud.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm not going to sit there and clap. I love the stupidest mistake you've ever made. That is such the best, stupidest mistake ever. Please do it again. Oh, please.
Forcing everybody to always be online.
Yeah, man. Which everybody has to be online at both.
Anyways,
yeah. At this point, you can't play your games without being online anymore. So, Brun, let's move on here and ask some of the last questions of the show tonight. This one is a question that I don't know who came up with this question, but I really, really like it, because I think we get some great answers to this one. But where do you see the future of gaming going in 10 years?
Oh, man, that's a good one.
10 years from now. Imagine the year is 2028.
Oh my gosh. And I got my bifocals on, yelling, playing Battlefield 10.
In the retirement home.
In the retirement home.
I got your cane, bashing it.
Yelling at the computer because Mark is talking about how Battlefield stinks on TXL episode 1328.
There you go.
I can't, so I thought about this
that far in the future, right?
Like I thought about this a lot for Xbox, because it's the future of Xbox that I want to see, and that is that the Xbox. So Windows 10, everybody knows that Windows 10 is built to be on multiple devices, and Xbox runs Windows 10. It could be a little special version of Windows 10. Let's just call it the Xbox OS, right? I want to see the Xbox OS become a Windows application.
Yeah.
To where if I can still be on Xbox, I can still be on Xbox Live, I can still play PC games on Steam and stuff like that, but I can play Xbox games on my computer without needing an Xbox. And that, or so it'd kind of be like, oh, you want to play Xbox games on your PC? Go right ahead. Or if you want to play it on a 65-inch TV, just go buy one of these boxes, an Xbox, and then you can play it there. That's what I'd like to see.
But even by that time, it could be just a USB stick you plug in the back of your TV.
Literally. Or an app.
You know what I mean?
A
or an app that you download on your TV. Yeah, exactly.
And also, I think it'd be cool to have something like the Oasis, which, speaking of Ready Player One, that would be neat. Another thing I think would be cool is and I've said this before, is Sony makes great hardware, and obviously Microsoft has knocked it out of the park, I think, with the Xbox One X. What a fantastic piece of hardware.
Took them long enough, but yeah.
Yeah, it did. It did. But Sony makes, you can't deny Sony makes great hardware.
No,
they make really crappy software. And they don't have a really good online infrastructure. I think it'd be pretty cool if those guys would actually partner up at some point in time. As long as a console doesn't turn into $10,000, you do lose the not competitiveness, but you know what I'm saying, to where they could like price gouge. You don't want a one console market.
Yeah.
Still want that. Still want that out there.
Competition between the two companies in order to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There needs to be some competition. Also, I think the Switch is a fantastic device. Yeah. I wouldn't mind having an Xbox that's like that. But I think all that stuff can happen within 5 years, let alone 10 years. But 10 years, we'll have to see is that when VR really takes off, and you're holding a controller and wearing a pair of glasses, not these big goggles on your face, but just a pair of glasses.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool.
That'd be neat, man. I wonder if consoles will ever be like cell phones, where you pay a monthly fee or whatever to pay off the console. You can just upgrade every year, every 12 months. Get the new console.
I think that's what they would. Yeah, I think that's the way they would go if they went to the app. You know what I mean? If it was just an app, you would probably pay
a monthly fee or whatever.
A monthly fee to access that app. Whereas instead of buying a console every 5 or 6 years, you know what I mean?
It would be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I just want my Xbox One to be the last Xbox I ever have to buy. Yeah. But yet I can still play all my Xbox games, and I can still fire up Xbox. Like, Xbox is the app. Just because it runs on that one piece of hardware versus another.
Yeah.
That's what I would want. And they kind of try to do this whole cross-play thing. Like, if you buy it on Xbox, you get it on Windows, but then you got to make a Windows version of it. No, for Microsoft, just bring out the Xbox app.
There you go.
And that's
have it run an Xbox emulator. But the problem with that is then they're building an emulator, and then they show people how to crack their software, pretty much, right? And that's what it comes down to.
The OS on the Xbox is Windows 10. So, I think they could figure out a way around that. And it's not that they would stop making Xboxes. Like I said, if you want to play on a 65-inch TV, you could still buy an Xbox. But I could also play on my computer, because I got my Xbox hooked into my computer right now. And I don't play on a 65. Yeah,
you play on a monitor, right? You like to play on the monitor, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wish I could plug my Xbox into this monitor, because I have a 21:9 monitor. I wish it would recognize that resolution and push it up 21:9. That would be awesome.
Elgato HD 60 Pro. Yes.
This one?
Well,
that's the 60S with the USB-C in it.
60S. That should do it too, because I just have my 60 Pro. And I just have my Xbox pulled into that, and I open up the software, and I hit F10, and
you have the card, right? You have the card in your computer?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it's this.
Yeah.
Just as in card format instead of in an actual device. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's all I do is I plug it into there, plug it into my computer, open up their software. You hit F10, which forces it to full screen, and that's the way I play my games. So
awesome. So, Brun, next question.
Mm-hmm.
So, how will society perceive gaming in the future? How do you think society will perceive gaming? Because I feel like, as of late, society's views of gamers have shifted a lot. Even since like 2011, I would say they shifted a lot. How do you see it in the future? How will society perceive gamers in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to eventually get up to the movie / music level. The more people, as we all get older, more people that grow up with gaming, play games all the time like we do, are going to be the people that are, because right now you have games seen as all their kids' things.
Yeah.
And that's because you're lawmakers and everything like that.
I mean, that view was more like when we were first gaming. I think nowadays it's a little less than that. You know what I mean? Like it's a little
with streamers and stuff. I feel like it's more mainstream than any.
But but it's because those people have grown up that it was a kids thing when we were kids, and we've grown up and we're still gaming. You know, so it's come into it's more of like everybody kind of is like, oh yeah, I play games. You know what I mean? I might play it on my phone or on my tablet or, this or that. And, and it's sort of evolving to the point where it seems like, games are just the norm where it's a new form of entertainment. Like you were saying, you want to see it sort of get to that level. I feel like it's almost past that already. I mean, you look at how much it makes now, compared to like movie releases and stuff like that, right? Like those things are dropping off because of like things like Netflix as well, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. You're saying it right, because when we're kids playing games, our parents and our parents and our grandparents, they just saw it. It's like, oh, this little Mario guy jumping on the screen. So when those people are the ones that are making the laws and things like that, and you've seen this like over the last 5 to 10 years, I guess, they're all just like, oh, they're all playing these games, and you have these adults still doing kids things. It's like, no, that's because when you saw me as a kid playing this, you think that I should have grown out of it, and I didn't. And games also grown up with me. But, as we're getting older and moving into those positions, and everybody else is kind of going out of the way, like games are, like you said, are normal to us. And the only thing that I think more older individuals are more older people than us are playing games now, but unfortunately they're doing it mobile, which doesn't help, because mobile games still, I think in my mind, still have that kiddie type feel.
Yes, absolutely.
Candy Crush. Crash Royale. Don't hate me, Rob. No.
Hey, I play Clash Royale.
I know. I'm just kidding. I just said it because that's Rob's big game.
I know.
But so my mom or something, like, she's playing this game, and that's what she thinks gaming is. And then if I showed her, pick any massive game, Fallout or any of the newer games that are. Yeah. Well, it's not that they're not interested. They look at it and they're like, "Oh, what are you watching?" It's like, "I'm not watching anything. I'm playing this.
That's me.
This is a game." And they're just like, "Oh, wow! I never knew they were like that." When sweet. That's all she hears when she's playing Candy Crush. But no, that's where I think games will be. It's moving forward, and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome in the future, I think, for the gamers, man. It's going to be crazy when our kids are teenagers or even in their 20s. Gaming is going to be nuts, dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be freaking crazy then.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I could just see everybody wearing VR headsets all the time, chatting with people all the time in VR, hanging out in VR, living life in VR. It's going to be nuts. But let's go on to the next question.
I think you guys think VR is going to make it a lot further.
I think it will,
VR
man.
In 10 years. I don't see it, man.
I see kids interacting. Like my daughter, remember when she was like very little? She's a little bit older now, but when she was like 3 or 4, there was something. What were we doing? I think my computer was on, and like she went up and she started tapping the screen, thinking she can close like the tabs or something. You know, she started tapping the screen, thinking like, "Oh, this is a touch screen." I'm like, "It's not a touch screen," and she would do it to the television as well. She would go up to the TV and like tap it.
Feel like she should be able to touch it. Yeah.
I don't VR to me in the future when we're talking like 10 years from now and I was talking about VR, like I'm not thinking I'm going to be standing up in my room, you know, shooting or playing swords or anything like that. To me, VR is I'm going to put on something and that is my view. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm still going to be sitting down or something like that's going to be my screen. Instead of staring at a monitor, I'm going to put glasses on instead. I want VR. I want more. I guess it's not VR at that point. It's just like I want the interaction with games to be more up close and personal type of
more
thing.
Real.
Yeah.
You'll be wearing e-skins in the future. Have you seen that suit, Brun? The new e-skin they unveiled at CES?
Is it a haptic suit from
it's
Ready Player One?
Yeah, it's literally the Ready Player One suit.
Basically, yes. Yeah, it's exactly that.
Yeah.
It even like lets you feel pain. It lets you feel like touches on anywhere on your butt, on your body,
like
and then
you pick something in your hand. It feels like you're holding something in your hand.
It's crazy. And then like they even let you sense heat and cold.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, that is
how much is that thing gonna cost? That was my argument on this. Is like, all right, people already don't want to get into VR because it's too big of a financial, thing to jump into. Who's gonna be buying this $10,000 suit? You know what I mean? Like, the tech's got a long way to go before it's gonna be ready for people to actually consume. Right.
Right.
But just imagine
we'll see. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe VR is the thing.
You're wrong, Ryan. You're wrong.
VR is the thing. I just don't feel like
it was the thing last year.
They got to get that price down. That's what I feel. I feel like it's a fad. I feel like it's going to go away, and gaming is going to continue on the way it is. Obviously, evolving. It's going to evolve somehow. It has to. It always does. If it stops evolving, it'll crash and die.
I want HUD contacts. I've always people's like, what do you want from your next cell phone?
Augmented reality HUD contacts.
It's like my next iPhone. I want it to be on my eye.
Man! Don't give Apple any ideas. You're giving Apple ideas now, Brun.
Yeah. But then all of a sudden, you're like, and nobody else can see me right now. I know you guys can see me, but here before long, you're going to see people going like this. What are you doing? I'm
trying to answer my phone
call. I'm checking out Facebook.
I'm scrolling through my feed right now.
I'm trying to catch this tweet.
I'm trying to send a text message, man. Why does it look like you're having a seizure? Because I got it in my eye.
Yeah. Somebody walks up and slaps you. What are you doing? You kept winking at me. No, I was texting my wife that I love her.
There we go. This is the future. It'll be awesome. So Brun, last question. Let's finish off with this one.
Okay.
What is your favorite HGP moment?
Okay. I actually thought about this one.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
That's what I get for listening to the previous shows. Mine's an interesting one. I had fun, obviously, when I was on the show with you guys. I think we had a blast. But one of my the things that I remember the most is Gunny being on TXL, and I remember Gunny being on TXL, being extremely nervous, and you guys know what I'm talking about because I think when he first started.
He was like that when he started with us too. Yeah.
My favorite thing from Horrible Gamers is watching Gunny, grow out of that, and not being nervous and becoming what he's become. I that's just one of my things. I always realize, when he did that, because I remember he even mentioned it one time. He's like, I'm not nervous anymore. And I'm just like, that's awesome. Because I remember how nervous he was. And you guys are shaking your head. Yes.
Oh, we know.
What I'm saying.
In the beginning, man, it was rough. He had a rough time. And then that's why, when we did that one episode where I was just like, no, that's it. You're hosting. You know what I mean? It's like, I just wanted to give him that push to show him you can do it. You know what I mean? Like, you could do it. Sure, you'll fumble a little bit, but don't worry about it. You can do it.
Yeah, BJ, that's like BJ blooper. I've done that 100 times. And I also remember...
I pull bloopers all the time from our shows.
Yeah, he does.
I remember also we were playing on Xbox, and he was in our party, and it's just like, after he started the show with you guys, I think he was becoming more comfortable, and he starts dropping F-bombs in the thing. I'm like, man, you've been listening to Jesus too much. I'm like, when did you get that off? Jesus dropping F-bombs down. I'm like, Gunny, language.
Oh, man.
Don't talk like Jesus.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, watching Gunny change throughout the podcasting that we've done with him, it's pretty incredible, dude. Because now he'll even cut us off, and he'll even tell us, like, no, I want to make my point. And, and he'll, we're like, we got to move on, Gunny. Like, no, let me speak. And then, he'll make his point.
Yeah. And I like when you guys came back.
Awesome. Yeah.
That was the other thing, because it was kind of like, that's a bummer. They're shutting things down, and then Jesus, I think it was you that you're just like, I'm starting this back up, and just like, beep, beep, beep. It's like, hey, man. And
don't worry, Brun, you can curse on our show.
You can.
I know. I'm so used to not doing it.
Yeah, I know.
And then I have like three. My other favorite one happened less than 12 hours ago.
Oh, wow.
Or I guess 24 hours ago.
Okay.
Was this voicemail of people crying in the background. No, my Battlefield buddy. And that voicemail was hilarious.
You caught it, but Jesus said at one point in the background, it might have got talked over, but Jesus goes, Why not wing?
I did not hear that. I didn't catch that part.
If you listen to it on a pair of headphones, you'll probably
catch it better.
Mark sent all the emails to me on, or sent the voicemails to me in email, so I have them for, forever to save. But
we had a lot of fun doing that too. We were cracking up while we were doing that.
I heard some you could hear some laughing.
There was a couple of chuckles that I couldn't get out because it was over top of something, and I was like, oh, all right, I'll just leave it.
It was so funny. And then we had to do multiple takes because Gunny, because I did my part and I recorded it like with the low voice, kind of sad and very somber, and then Ryan did his, and then Gunny's like, I remember. he's like all chipper.
He's like all happy and like, I remember back when. Like, Gunny, jeez.
We're like, Gunny cut. Like, no.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And this is after like 20 minutes of us like trying to figure out exactly what we were going to do and everything. So like I had that music playing in the background, so it was like inspiring us to be sad, and he's just all happy. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Why? The things in the background were fun. But my Battlefield buddy. But then you mentioned like when we sat on Skype. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night. Working on, because you're on West Coast time, right?
I'm East Coast.
I'm West Coast.
Oh, you're East Coast time. Okay, but I was just like, hey, can you jump on and look at this stuff, and us going through like, everything that we had to do on our show and stuff. So
and I just didn't like, there was just some things I wasn't grasping about OBS that was just driving me nuts. And I'm like, I bet Brun can explain this to me. So I messaged you, and sure enough, he came on and helped me out. And that's how the live show started for us. That's without Brun, it would have been hell for me to put that together. Even more hell than it already was.
I am TXL tech support.
But there was a few times I went back. I'm glad I recorded that video, because like there was a few times I actually went back to that video to just reference something or be like, I forgot about something. You know what I mean? Like, how did I do that again? And I went back to the video, and sure enough, that's where it was. So it was a big help to me, man. And I thank you a lot for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, wait. What you said your favorite HGP memory, But what is your favorite TXL memory?
There you go.
Oh, I don't know. Last night when I retired, no, I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh. You're talking 10, talking about 10 years of stuff
from there, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many things. So, like, the shocking thing of, like, when, we had that developer on who said that thing about developing for PlayStation. I think we mentioned that last night, and it just, it was, on whatever, that VG 24/7 or whatever. It was just, all over the place, and we're just oh, my gosh, our name's all over the place. I think we're on GameSpot right now. It's just, awesome. We were everywhere. So that was cool, and I think talking to some, I don't know. There's just so many. It's really hard to pick one.
All right. Well, I just thought I had something.
Yeah, it's every time sitting down with, friends and talking games. That was.
Yeah. I'm gonna miss Brun.
We're gonna get sad again.
Do we have to cry again?
Let's start crying.
Cry.
Oh man, that's so awesome! Thank you for coming on, Brun. I mean, sincerely, from HGP, from the crew, from probably our listeners as well, because a lot of our listeners are your guys' listeners too. I want to thank you for coming on this show, for being on this spotlight, and for the great memories you built with us on this Xbox Live.
Yeah. So thanks for having me. I think the spotlight thing, when you guys started doing it, I really like this segment or this type of show that you're doing. I think it's really cool.
Is it because it's shorter?
It's about 4 hours.
Yeah, we joked about that last night. With you, I saw you guys in chat. You're like, "Who's this Wii stuff, Gunny?" I'm like, "Oh no, Gunny's getting fired." It's like, "Is there an open spot?" And then Mark chimes in. They do 3-hour shows, bro. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
No, because Gunny's over there like, can I be a moderator on your Mixer channel? And the Wingman's like, yeah, I'll make you a moderator. I'm like, you don't even moderate our stuff.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, no.
Actually, that's not true.
Yeah,
he does moderate our chats. When we were live, he was the one that was in there talking to people most of the time. Yeah, we weren't paying attention to it, and he was. So that's sort of not true.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. I sometimes I play games to 11:30, and I'm like, oh man, I better go to bed. I go to bed, I open up, and it's like, you guys are still Saturday night, you're still on, and that's when you guys will see me in there chatting. You're like, oh, Gunny's like, oh, hey, Brun, and I'm just like, you guys are still talking.
There's just so much to talk about, man. So much news and so much gaming. It goes crazy. But yes, with that being said, Brun, I hope to game with you in the future, and I know people want to game with you, so go ahead and let them know where they can find you.
Well, you can find me anywhere pretty much at BJSwick33. So that's my gamer tag on Steam, on Xbox, on PlayStation. It's just pretty much that is my gamer tag. Majority on Xbox and Steam though, or on PC, of course. Origin is BJSwick33 as well. So
you're like me,
just about anywhere.
You're like me. You have the same name across all platforms.
Yep, it was just easy that way. So, yeah. But yes, we'll definitely be playing games because I'm not dead. I just don't podcast anymore. That was the one thing about yesterday that your guys' video comes on. I'm just like, man, why do I feel like I'm watching my own funeral?
Yeah, we wanted it to feel like a eulogy, though. That was
I know that was the funny part. Yeah. Even Mark, when I told because I announced that I was going to retire at the beginning of January.
Yeah,
and was just like, I'm going to go all the way through January. And Mark's just like, him and Rob, I think, talks should we continue to do the show? Dude, we're gonna continue to do the show and stuff. I was like, I wouldn't expect you to do anything different, and I'm not dying for crying out loud. So.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a big change for them, man. It's a big change. They're losing their permanent host. That's a big change for any podcast. Yeah, it was a change for us,
And it was very hard for me to decide to do that. because I don't want to feel like I'm letting them down.
Yeah.
And I don't.
But I'm sure they look at it like you're moving on to something else. You got other things to do. You're still going to be around for them as well. You know what I mean? Like you just can't do. And I get that. Sometimes I'm at the point where I'm just like, I need to just get away from this for a little while because it's,
Yeah.
It is. It's you guys.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, but and they didn't take it that way either. Like they were just like, all right, are you sure? Yep. We give it a month and you'll be back. I'm like, I don't think I'll be back this time. So.
Man.
Well, we're still hoping that you do.
Yeah, I really am.
Give it a month and you'll be back as a member of HGP.
There we go. We'll be in talks.
The horrible the big announcement out of you guys would be, we're not doing 3-hour shows anymore. We have to keep it to an hour or else Brun won't come on.
Guys, we'll do a 1-hour podcast with Brun and then the rest will be after he leaves.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, man, so crazy how you're leaving TXL. Man, I still can't believe it. Like when you announced that, honestly, on the first show of 2018, I was like, what? What did he just say?
Yeah.
Hold on, stop and rewind this.
Chat, because he said something in the chat and I was like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell? What?
Yeah, because he was just like, have you told everybody yet? And I was like, well, I was gonna kind of wait for you to be on the show. And I was like, I'll tell him here in a minute.
Yeah, man.
I guess I'm telling
crazy. You. Yeah. Oh man. Anyways, we wish you luck, Brun, and we hopefully you make some crazy software that'll make you a billionaire for the streamers. and you come back and you buy out TXL and then TXL buys us out and then we'll all work for you.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. It'd be nice to make it'd be neat to make something. So
if you do need beta testers for that, we would be more than likely to help for your streaming thing that you're going to do when you get that down.
Yep. It's and the thing is like I can probably tell you when we stop recording. What it's around, but you'll see. You're like, oh, that's it. That's it. It's really pretty simple, but I think it'll be pretty cool. So
sweet,
great. And for the rest of the listeners, for everybody, you can find us. You know where to find us. Jesus Walks Out is my gamer tag. Gib is Gib8777. Find us on the show, on the regular show, and thank you for listening, guys. And if you want to be on the spotlight, like I said on the other shows, you know where to message us on Facebook, on Xbox Live, on PlayStation Network. You can just find us and message us on there, and we'll get in touch with you.
Yep, and make sure to check out this Xbox Life.
Yeah.
Check them out. This XboxLife.com. So.
And that horribly awkward show, that horribly awkward one. Yeah, those
beep. Wait, you mean that beep? That
you wait till I find him.
I can't say it. It won't let me say it. The beep. It's the beep.
Sorry, you gotta edit that out. Yeah, wait till he finds you. Iams. He's coming for you.
He's coming to get you.
Take my job.
All right, peace out, Brussels sprouts. We'll see you on the next edition of the Horrible Gamers podcast. Bye.
Later, everyone.
Hello.
What have I got myself into?
Brun, what do you think about the rumors of Microsoft acquiring EA?
I just posted that in our group.
Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
Yeah, it's EA, Valve, and PUBG.
Yeah, that's nuts. You're leaving this Xbox Live at the wrong time.
Well, not really, because I had to leave due to my upcoming position at Microsoft.
Oh, okay. CEO of EA.
Oh, is that why you're going to work for Microsoft? Making moves.
Making moves, making moves. keep going chappy like.
Oh, you guys just went chappy on me.
See? You're the only one that's gone chappy on me, Ryan, so hopefully you don't go chappy too much. I don't think you will. Brun will be talking.
Skype knows better to do that to me.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Yeah, you say it, Mike. You say it, Mike.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Hi. That's awesome.